I believe silver is going to be like the tortoise that won the race. Hair is gold, the hair is gold, and the tortoise is the silver. So let's just think about that. Think about the gold and silver and start purchasing, even if it's one coin a month at $35, for example. Buy a silver coin at $35, for example. Silver is low at the moment, but it is increasing. And I believe that that's going to become the dark horse. That's going to become the beautiful black horse that runs ahead and wins. Because of its use. These mines all around the world, they're running out. They've only got so much stock globally, and it will run out in 20 years according to the data. And that's why they're looking for more gold or silver mines. But even if they discover it, it's still going to take time to process it. You know, just because you find gold and silver doesn't mean to say it's like, oh, instant. They've got to work it. It's got to be, the miners have to go in and make it as it should be because they're qualified to do so, for example. So what do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Do you think that we're preparing for a quiet, well, I won't say quiet. Do you think that we're preparing for a global reset built on gold and silver? There's a lot of distractions out there at the moment. Bad and good. But try and look at what you can control right now. See, Russia isn't just mining gold. It's trying to build influence and possibly changing the global currency system. And tonight, I wanted to ask you that question, that because the answers are still buried deep in these vaults that we don't even know about. I believe that a lot of the countries around the world are hiding these secret vaults. You know what it was like. I won't say you know what it was like, but imagine you've read those books, you've seen those movies where there's hidden treasure, hidden vaults, hidden gold, because they don't want you to know about it. I remember reading from when I was reading a book written by Robin Sharma. He talks about the monk that sold his Ferrari. But he also talked that there were some monks that many years ago they had this gold, and they were worried that it was going to be taken away from them. So they covered it in mud. And then a monk many years ago, I'll have to get the story out because I think it would be really good to talk about it. But many years ago, for example, 10 years after, these people that came to take over the land because they thought that there was gold on this land, but the monks hid the gold they covered it in mud so it couldn't be seen. It just looked like mud. It looked like nothing. And it got forgotten about because people had passed, years had gone by, for example, and then there was a monk walking past and it saw a glimmer, something shiny. coming from the ground. It must have hit the sun at a certain point, and this shiny object was showing through. So this monk went over to this rock that was mud, for example. He was chipping away. And he then called the other monks, for example, to show them this shiny thing. What do you think it could be, for example? And they all started chipping away, and it turns out it was gold, lots of gold. So how many hidden gold and vaults is there in the world? Because gold and minerals, they can cause war. We're seeing it today. We're seeing it. So years ago, what they used to do is they would hide it because they didn't want their country or territory to be attacked. So they protected themselves by covering up and hiding the gold or the jewelry or whatever, for example. We all hear about these stories, don't we? So even though the data is telling us how much gold is in each country, there is a lot more. It's just we don't know about it. Only a few know about it. And I say a few, probably one or two people know about it, or special elite people know about it. What are your stories on that? What do you think about what I just said? Do you think that there is gold and silver hidden? Because I believe so, because we've all watched those films like Jewel of the Nile, for example. We've watched all these different films that have got different storylines that actually hold hidden treasure, for example. And I still believe that that is real today, that around the world there's hidden treasure. That's why a lot of people go around with metal detectors, for example, because you'd be quite surprised what you could find with a metal detector. You know, and people like to go out exploring, don't they, for example? But there's so much hidden treasure that we don't even know about, that we're not aware of, because it can cause a war. It can cause things to, we're seeing it where Donald Trump is tariffing everybody and saying, I'm going to take over this country, and it's just happening. It's happening all the time. And you can understand why people hide their treasures. Years ago, it was hidden, and people fought over precious metals. And it's still happening today. But what we can do is we can get our precious metal by buying silver and getting gold and saving it, because we need to. Remember, you see, it's not like there's a Robin Hood out there that will take from the rich and give to the poor. It seems to be the other way round. We're getting a switch. But we can buy silver coins, we can buy gold, we can even buy scrap gold and scrap silver at a reduced price by doing what I used to do, doing gold parties, which worked really well when I did it with my husband. He was the one that started it. And it worked really well. And we did it monthly, for example. And it worked extremely well. That is the way that we can control and help and look at our future and plan for our future. Now, Warren Buffett has got some really good, amazing ideas. If you haven't read his books, if you haven't studied him, I would suggest you do, because he is absolutely amazing. He knows, him and his business partner, they both know about money at the highest level. And he brought the 3,500 tons of silver. He did that many years ago. And then he also recently invested in a mine. Not a mine, it was the company that was mining. It was the product that they was producing he invested in, for example. But he still was investing in gold and silver, for example, in that way, because it was the company, not the actual physical gold and silver, for example. Because you can imagine trying to store 3,500 tons of silver. You know, that's going to fill up a massive room, isn't it? People even today, they are burying gold and silver in the ground somewhere. They're starting to really plan for their future, for example, because of the currency. The currency is devaluing. Inflation is just going up and up and up, for example. So by buying gold and silver is a good physical gold and silver I'm referring to here is a good bet, but you need to speak with a financial advisor if you want financial advice.